This is your full Ford Maverick review. I'm going to try to cover everything you need to know about the Ford Maverick. I'm going to try to really help you out pick the right model. So I'm Johnny from Johnny's Car Care and Reviews, and I'm here to help. That's the goal of the channel. So really we're going to be doing a Ford Maverick comparison highlight to really start this all off. And then we're going to be playing the review on a test drive on a hybrid Maverick, where we really cover all the highs and the very few lows. We'll also be comparing that to the EcoBoost. So really, which one is best? That's the big question here. We want to know which model is best. Well, clearly, a lot of that comes down to which model is best for you. It all depends on how you're going to use the Ford Maverick. What are your needs versus what are your wants? We all want great fuel economy. And if it was just as simple as that, we'd all get a hybrid and wait. Definitely longer waits on the hybrid. We'll get to that in just a moment. So I really want to cover all the must-know information as well as the don't be fooled. So first of all, let's put the pedal to the metal and just jump right in. So don't be fooled. The hybrid acceleration for most is excellent. So you're going to be reading reviews, you're going to be watching reviews where they try to say that the hybrid isn't that fast. Compared to what? A Mustang GT? Like, I think that's silly saying it's not that fast. It does 0 to 60 miles per hour in 7.7 seconds. And that is not slow for a pickup in any way whatsoever. That is plenty fast to get you safely blended into traffic, to safely pass on two-way roads. So it is ample speed. For most, they will find this quite fast. Just to give you an idea, back in 1991, so my Toyota 1991 MR2 turbo, 2-liter turbo, so that MR2, when it was brand new, did a 0 to 60 time in, I've got it right here, 6.3 seconds. So, and that was considered a fast sports car. Now, if you do have an absolute need for speed, you're a speed junkie, well then the EcoBoost is the right model for you because it is very fast. It does 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.9 seconds. And that's without any tunes, without any modifications. That is extremely impressive for a truck. So really the EcoBoost is right for you if you want a fast vehicle and the occasional practicality of a truck. Now remember, you have the full 4.5 feet of box available. Unlike the Santa Cruz has its advantages, such as a roll-out hard cover. That roll-out hard cover though, well, it rolls up into the box. So you lose about 8 inches of box. So their 4.3 foot box is actually more like a 3.7 foot box. Now they get counted as 4.3 because of a little bit of space underneath that box. But it is what it is. You know, different strokes for different folks. There's no, these days there are next to no bad vehicles. There's just a whole lot of choices, and I'm here to help, and the whole crew at Johnny's Car Care and Reviews, as well as a lot of the community members. We've got a really friendly, helpful attitude. So if you want to join that community, all you need to do is subscribe. It really helps the channel. And if you really want to play a huge role, you can even join and become a member. Thank you very much to our recent, we just started to have membership. So thank you very much to Tim Bartz, to Ridgeview, and Dr. Detroit. So thank you very much, all of which are, especially Tim is incredible at taking care of the community for must-know information. So he's on Long MacArthur. He also has Ford Video Guys, a channel. And both Ridgeview and Dr. Detroit are huge helps in getting us great intel and helping the community out. But right back to the intel. So that's fast for the EcoBoost, 5.9 seconds, and that's tested by Car and Driver. I like to use Car and Driver as my main source for proper acceleration times. I find they do the best job. They've got the best, you could say standards, because of course there's a lot of factors that come into play for acceleration times. And that's why across the internet, you'll come across all sorts of different acceleration times for the same vehicle. Car and Driver, that is my absolute trusted benchmark. So I go with their numbers. So yeah, my MR2 back in 1991, tested in also by Car and Driver at 6.3 seconds. So just to give you an idea, in case you're thinking that hybrid is slow because you've watched reviews saying it's slow, it's not in any way whatsoever. A Ram 1500 with a V6 diesel, 400 and some odd pound-feet of torque, does it also in 7.7 seconds. And you don't hear people going on and, complaining about that truck being slow. Weight is extremely important. So coming up for next week's video, I'm going to be doing a Don't Be Fooled entire section, because lately some major news sources have been getting some information quite wrong on the Maverick in regards to towing, in regards to towing and acceleration, just several factors. I don't want to get into it now, but I will point out that the hybrid tows very well 2,000 pounds. So we've got another video, you won't see that here today, but we've got another video where in a snowstorm we pull straight up a hill, off several stop signs, 1,500 pounds. It pulled it with absolute ease. I know it would take the extra 500 pounds, no problem at all. Do remember you can put the Maverick has 1,500 pound payload rating, but Ford says you can put 1,500 pounds in the box, which is very different to the Santa Cruz, which is rated at 660 pounds in the box. And that's another Don't Be Fooled section that I'll be covering in the next news video. So I'll leave that for the news, because that's news, covering all sorts of must-know information across Ford products. So further on, if you need to pull more, the Maverick can absolutely pull 4,000 pounds, but you do absolutely need all-wheel drive and the 4K towing package to pull 4,000 pounds, and it will do it actually quite well with its 250 horsepower, and if my recollection serves me correctly, 277 pound-feet of torque. In the video, while we drive it, we'll be talking about all those numbers, so make sure you watch to the end. By the end of it, you should know everything, including, for example, the XL Maverick, how you can't have cruise control. You can add it later on, but it requires some programming, so you have to hope that all goes well in regards to warranty work, if ever there is warranty work to be done. I won't get too far into that, but I suggest before you do that upgrade, talk to your dealer to make sure that they will cover you if anything goes wrong. Now, here is another very important Don't Be Fooled aspect or thing that I want to cover. Adaptive cruise control. You can absolutely have it. You do absolutely have to have a Lariat, and if I recall correctly, you also need to have the Lariat luxury package for the adaptive cruise control. So I'm hoping that in the next either 2023 model year or for the mid-year refresh, that we do get cruise control on the XL as an option, and that we also get adaptive cruise control as a 360 plus package available on at least the XLT. It's about safety, and I think that's really important. Now, don't be fooled, the sound system gets a lot of hate and a lot of bad publicity. And I've got to say, I've listened to it many times. I do love music, and it's not bad in any way whatsoever. It's not fantastic in any way whatsoever. It gets the job done. It's good. It's got if I was to rate it on 10 without considering price, yeah, I'd probably give it a 5 or a 6. It passes, it gets the job done. Considering the price of the truck, it's a great sound system considering the price. So if you're a real audiophile, you love listening to music, please just still consider the Maverick. Just please know that you're probably going to be buying aftermarket speakers, and they switch out relatively well. So I've got my friend Tristan, his Maverick. He had a little bit of trouble. The first speaker took an hour in the back, and after he knew the trick to taking off the panels and getting them back on, the next speaker took half an hour. The front speakers were a-okay, nice and easy. So we'll have to cover that in an upcoming future videos. Now, more must-know information. That's all about when are you going to get your Maverick? What's going to cause delays? So basically, all accessories could cause delays. You're absolutely much better off getting your dealer to put in the plastic drop-in bed liner, to get a spray-in bed liner, or any of the covers, even mud flaps, any accessories. Get them from the parts department, but don't be fooled. You probably are going to pay them a little bit more expensive than if you got it from the factory, because when it comes from the factory, for example, the hard roll cover from the factory, there's no shipping. They ship it on the truck. Whereas when you buy it separately, well, your dealer has higher shipping costs associated. So you're going to pay more for a hard roll-up cover, a couple $100 more actually. And that makes sense. It's not exactly light. Moving on. Now, I do just want to, before fully moving on, just want to mention why. Why would an accessory cause a delay on your truck? Because almost certainly they won't send your truck off on a transport to you until it is 100% complete. So that means there are a few accessories that they'll ship without the accessory, but for a good portion, like a spray-in bed liner or a drop-in bed liner, they're going to wait until they have it, until they release the truck. So your truck could be built and just sitting there because it's missing a component. Now, speaking of missing components, luxury package. Luxury package seems, whether you go EcoBoost or hybrid, seems to add about 4 months of delays to an already delayed model. Speaking of an already delayed model, there is far more demand for hybrids than, no one's saying an official answer, but probably available either electric motors or batteries. But with lithium shortages and whatnot, and battery shortages that are known, battery could definitely be a factor. So let's say at your local dealer, an EcoBoost takes 4 months. Well, adding luxury could add luxury package with all the extra microchips, semiconductor chips could add an extra 3-4 months. But on top of that, if you go hybrid, well, you're probably adding another 3-4 months, because a lot of people for hybrid are waiting 7-8 months. If they don't have luxury package, well, you should say 6 to 8 months. And if you have luxury package, well, a lot of people are going to be waiting around a year. So some 10 months, some 14 months, because there are variations from region to region, dealer to dealer. So those are things that you should know. I feel that's under the must-know category. Now, just to wrap this up before we actually start the full review of each model, both the hybrid and the EcoBoost, I want to say that the 2022 is currently sold out. Some dealers will put you on a waiting list, and of course with the 2023 changes, they might need to call you up and say, well, this has changed, or the price has increased. Are you still keeping your order before we pass it on? Because really, they can put those orders in and the factory are going to accept 2023 orders around August 15th, meaning that, well, do expect to probably a few weeks before be able to build it online and really get a good idea of what the price and promotions are. In my head, it only makes sense if you can do that at the absolute latest by August 1st, giving people 15 days to build their ideal 2023 Maverick. But do consider that ideal might mean you wait longer. The luxury package, the accessories. The things that are in the luxury package, like heated seats, well, you could add that aftermarket, but so far I have found no one in the aftermarket to offer a proper, good heated steering wheel, and it would be a little complicated to get those side mirrors heated. So review what's in the luxury package for the model that you like. Of course, there's no way you're going to be adding an aftermarket adaptive cruise control, and even if it was available, I don't think I'd trust it. So keep all that in mind. Now, last section of the Don't Be Fooled, the hybrid is not loud. I'll show you in the video coming right up. It's not loud and unbearable. A lot of review channels have kind of presented it that way, and the transition is actually really good between full electric mode with the 94 kilowatt motor to adding the gasoline engine. The transition is smooth. It's not really loud. Can you notice it? Yes. Can you hear it if you're not listening to music? Absolutely. Is it unbearable? No. No way whatsoever. So that is a huge point, and you do know when it's in electric mode because, well, it's really silent and your gauge is going to be on 0, and when it's recharging, it's going to go into the green bar. So why don't we just show you instead of talk to you? Let's show you those differences. Let's hopefully really help you decide whether you've already ordered, confirm that you ordered the right one, or maybe have you think, hey, maybe I should get the EcoBoost. Because honestly, the EcoBoost all-wheel drive is a fantastic option if you're living in snowy regions, but don't be fooled, the front-wheel drive hybrid does do well. It's an intelligent front wheel drive system. It'll work the power between the two wheels at a very quick pace. It can send different amounts of power to each of those two front wheels. It did great in our snowstorms. I've got videos of it. You'll see a bit of it in the video coming up, but it did great in 2 snowstorms for us. But of course, the all-wheel drive is superior in snow, and on the highway, there's not much of a fuel consumption difference between the hybrid and the EcoBoost. So do consider how much highway you're going to be doing. If you're doing 90-95% highway, consider strongly getting the EcoBoost with less delays, all-wheel drive option, being able to pull 4,000 pounds. And if you're doing a lot of city, well, the hybrid seems like a no-brainer. They're both great vehicles. I'll let you really choose and figure that out for yourself by watching the videos coming right up. So hope you enjoy and take care. Do hit that subscribe button to help the channel out and to not miss out on all the really must-know information around Ford. Take care. Let's jump right in, and I'll be there to give some technical data as well in case you've missed out on some technical data. This is the hybrid, so you can hear the 2.5 liter Atkinson gasoline engine kick in, turn on. From the outside, you can definitely hear that. From the inside, you'll be surprised. I'm surprised. It is loud from the outside, but from the inside, it's not that loud at all. The sound deadening on this is pretty darn decent. Okay, so how did you find the braking on this?
Yeah, it goes very well. I brake too hard. I need to adjust the way that I drive and brake. So.
Yeah, it does take some getting used to because it is a very sensitive pedal. You touch it just a little and the brakes kick in. And one small trick, actually, I'll show you. If you want to brake less, just hit the L button here. And a lot of the braking, you won't have to touch the brake, or very little, I should say, because the regenerative braking is going to work harder and charge the battery more. And you'll actually see that on the green arrow back there on the dash. The green arrow is going to go further down, saying it's charging even more so. And how do you find just general, like, you know, acceleration and driving around in town?
Yeah, it goes very well. We see that it's a brand new car. It goes. I just hit the pedal a little, and it goes very well.
It's got oomph. You like the acceleration?
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like a slow, boring hybrid?
No, not at all. For an hybrid, it's perfect. I wasn't expected that much from it, so yeah, it's a good surprise.
Marie is on a bit of an incline, and we're going to test out the front wheel drive's tires and capability of going up a hill when we're at a complete standstill. You can hear the gasoline engine kicking in. And what if you give it a little gas? So no issues with traction. Now, during another snowstorm just yesterday in another video, I actually tried it at around the 16-minute mark in the video. I actually did it on a much steeper hill and no issues at all. So the front wheel drive with good winter tires will get you around. So it looks like my promise to Marie that this would do the trick is spot on. So it looks like I'm gonna be okay. What do you think?
Yeah, it's like a normal gas car for me, so it goes as good.
Yeah, originally Marie-Pierre really wanted an all-wheel drive, and I talked her into well, she really wanted an all-wheel drive but didn't like the payments plus the gas. So the calculation for the hybrid front-wheel drive seemed to be the only way she'd get a Maverick, so I did promise her that this would drive just fine in the snow. And well, here we've got it. If that ain't snow, I don't know what is. Okay, so now we're kind of up, not quite in the mountains, but somewhere in between in the mountains and being more on the ground. The roads are a lot better today, but we're gonna go where there's some bad roads because we really want to give you a good impression of what this vehicle can do. Can the front wheel drive hybrid really handle the snow? But first, let's, you know, debunk something that has been bothering me. We're going to be talking about really two things that have been bothering me. People saying that the interior is awful and that the sound system is awful. I think those are exaggerations in order to get views, but what do you think, Marie?
For the sound system, John and I agree that it's a little bit better than the Broncos, so that's a good aspect for me. But the interior, I need to be honest with you. That kind of plastic, I found it that it looks like an old plastic mug from the 90s, if you know what I mean. So I didn't like that that color. I love that they put two colors, but not that one. Maybe it's not the good choice.
Okay, maybe the color does look a little bit like an 80s cooler.
Yeah, but it's fun to have a different texture. But I would choose something else than that look.
Fair enough. So we're up in the mountains now, giving you an honest opinion on, you know, everything we can in the sound system. I like the sound system in the XLT. It is better than both our Broncos. So we've got the Outer Banks with high package, and we've got the Badlands with, well, no package, not even heated seats, but that's sort of meant to be more of our off-road rig once we can get into the trails. But you know, the suspension on this, I find it's good. It does make some noise, but it can handle 1,500 pounds. You know, we've been driving on some very bumpy roads, and hopefully, you know, we still have viewers watching despite the bit of camera shake, but these roads are extremely bumpy. How do you feel the suspension goes?
It goes very well because the ride is smooth. I really enjoy the ride. The feeling is that's comfortable, and the seats are so comfortable. I'm surprised. I really love that. I could stay there for long hours road, and I'll be fine. So I really love the seats.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoy the seats as well. I was playing around with the vehicle yesterday, and I was in the seats for about, I don't know, about 40 minutes, and I do have back problems, and I had no issues whatsoever. And they're actually, the seats are great at absorbing as well, you know, helping your back not feel the roads. And this is actually one of the smoothest roads we've been on, surprisingly, and it's done a great job. So the interior, okay, maybe a few points less for the thermos color. The mug, 80s plastic mug or cooler color, but we do both really like the two color. Loving the two color, and of course you can always get an XL, which is like all black and gray. But we really like, you know, at first both Marie and I really weren't sure about the orange accents when we saw it online, but I know now that I'm in it, I love the orange accents. It you know, hits it off well with the blue. What do you think?
On the seat, I like the orange on the seat, the two colors and the orange, but for that I guess it's too flashy for me. If they just do the contour like the seats with the orange color, maybe it will be greater than that, but it's not that bad.
And it's always something that can be covered up, you know. You can I love to paint stuff,
and when you will
spray
put
can.
stuff in it, you won't see it anymore that much.
Yeah, once my stuff goes in it, you're only gonna see that orange outline on the side, so you'll get what you want, I guess. That we've just absolutely loved about our Broncos is that they turn on a 10 cent or a 25 cent quarter. They turn amazingly. So in city or having to turn around anywhere, it's just so unbelievably easy. So let's just test it out for the Maverick.
Oh, less better than the Bronco.
I'm surprised it turns less sharp than the Bronco. I think this is actually both a surprise for us. The Bronco has an unbeatable turning radius. I don't know if any vehicle on the market can beat the turning radius on the Bronco. And that, you know, wasn't horrible, but it's just not quite as good.
It's not horrible. I guess it's just the regular way of each car are turning, but I was thinking because it's a small truck that it will turn more than that, but
so
it's not that bad.
with my 2011 FX4 3.5 liter EcoBoost with almost 300,000 kilometers with that F-150, this you know, Maverick did it in one turn. How many maneuvers do you think you would have?
Maybe two or three times, maybe.
Yeah, so a lot easier. In this, we just had to put it in reverse once, and I agree. The F-150, I think we've been playing the back and forward and reverse transmission switch or swap several times before getting out of there.
It's not that bad because we were almost there, so we just missed a little space to do it once for the first time.
So now I'm going to have Marie illustrate to us what happens when you let go of the gas pedal. Not quite yet, because I do want to make sure we're in L. So now that L, you see it?
With brakes all alone.
Yeah.
I don't touch the pedal right now.
So let's try that again.
Yeah.
So we're in low mode, and Marie's going to show us what happens with that needle.
Okay. I'm not touching it.
See that needle go really low? That's because in low mode you're charging up. The regenerative braking is working to charge even more your battery than usual. And it does help with braking. One thing I'd worry about though is if you're always driving in low, your brakes might not actually get used enough. So sometimes try to deliberately, use your brakes more so that especially in weather conditions like this, your brakes don't rust up and your discs don't need changing. Tell us, Marie, about the fuel economy so far.
Yeah, it's the first time that I drive an hybrid like that. So I see it's only 4.3 liter per kilometers.
Yeah, it's 4.3. It was at 4.3 liters per 100 kilometers, but now we're sitting here idling, and Ford system doesn't cheat. It actually continues to calculate your fuel consumption when you're idling, and because it's not really cold out, but it is just a little bit below freezing, that gasoline engine is turning on in order to feed the demand for heat, our need for heat. And you can hear the engine just turned back off again, because likely that engine was turning on to it can charge the battery. So we've got regenerative to charge the battery. You don't plug anything in, you don't do anything. This is a no stress, no hassle hybrid system, meaning you let the regenerative braking do most of the work, and occasionally the engine also will work to charge that battery. As it did, we're demanding a good, 24 degrees Celsius. We're demanding a good amount of heat, so the gasoline engine turned on to charge that battery. But even with the idling and the burning of gas while not moving and me blabbing, we're at now 4.6 liters per 100 kilometers in winter conditions. So this can be an incredibly fuel efficient vehicle. I think, this is going to be really good for your budget.
Yeah, and we let the motor turn a few times while we were filming, so I guess that's good. If I was always moving, I could have a better rates than that.
Well, maybe we'll do more tests to find that one out. Liking your reasonably sized truck?
I really love the drive. It goes very well. So for that, it's a good car to buy. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, you suggested it.
Yeah, definitely. The hybrid is good. And you told me yesterday that you tried to go up on our driveway. That was a lot of it was icy, and even if it's not a 4x4, you were able to go on our driveway, so that's perfect, I guess.
Handling's good. You don't find it too bumpy? The suspension's not too hard?
Not at all. It's so soft, and it's comfortable. I could stay here for many hours.
And you're saying that you do find, in regards to the handling, because it's lower to the ground, you kind of gives you the impression it can handle really well. But now you've driven it, and of course you haven't had me drive it in the corners yet, but how do you find the cornering?
I have nothing else to say than that. It just goes very well. It's fun to drive. It's comfortable. The ride is soft. I don't have nothing negative to say about the drive of that car.
Okay, good.
Just the plastic look in the interior, maybe.
Yeah, that's really bugging you, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't love that much, but at the same time, I know each make are trying to do texture in the car, 2 colors, so it's something that we see often, not only at Ford. So maybe that we're there. They try to make youngest people buy cars, so maybe that's why.
How did you find the acceleration?
It goes very well.
Do you find the vehicle, when we drive with the windows closed, do you find it quiet? Because some reviewers have said that the hybrid's really loud and that it's kind of detracts from the quality of the vehicle. How did you find the driving noise?
It's quiet. We don't hear the outside that much. But maybe if they say, oh, it's not that quiet, maybe it's because you hear the sound from the hybrid system.
Yeah,
that you're not normally you don't have that, so it's a new thing for you, and it will maybe bug you at the first time. But it's not that bad.
Did you find the engine sounded like a tractor? That's what some people have been saying, that when the 2.5 liter Atkinson engine, which has 191 combined horsepower and 155 pound-feet of torque from the engine, well, some say that when that engine kicks on, it sounds pretty tractory. You didn't find it sounds like a tractor inside?
Not at all. We just hear a little motor, but not a tractor sound.
Okay, great. let's see. Right now, it's in hybrid mode. It's running. And that's the sound we're getting. These are the tires we were using. Some good Goodyears, Winter Command. Good tire. Now for the price, I also really like Dunlop Winter Max and of course Michelin. Now while Motor Trend got 30 miles per gallon with a mix of towing, city and highway, with towing we got 22 miles per gallon. Marie-Pierre, when we reset it, got 50 miles per gallon on her drive, and I got more, about 40 miles per gallon, because I am pretty heavy-footed. Now, do like and subscribe, because we are going to be talking about accessories like this top. Whether you go foldable, rollable, we'll be talking all about that, and we'll be covering the EcoBoost. So in the meantime, we wish you all more cars and more power. Thanks for watching. Johnny here for Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. You might be asking, why am I dressed in a blazer? Well, I'm dressed in a blazer because I finally have my date on real roads with the EcoBoost Maverick. I've waited for this thing for over 6 months. I drove it on a little mini racetrack back in September, but now, heck, it's been over 6 months. I'm really looking forward to this. We've got the 2-liter turbo, as many of you know, that's 250 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque, which I expect to actually be a blast because that torque is available, all of it, at only 3,000 RPM. So you don't have to press very hard on the pedal to get this thing moving nicely. So in this video, we're going to be talking, of course, a little bit about accessories. I'm going to tell you exactly what this is. This is an XLT straight, but it has the 4K tow package and the sliding back window with plastic bed liner. Now that works out to 34,500 Canadian. Forgive me if I'm $40 off, and I'll actually rate down here, put that in US dollars. I'll build that up on the site based on today's prices because, well, this was ordered back in June 10th. And I suspect it took a while because of the 4K tow package, because it's an all-wheel drive EcoBoost. Now let's talk about that all-wheel drive system. It's going to be fantastic in the snow because it's intelligent all-wheel drive. This vehicle is primarily front-wheel drive on a nice day, but if you either put the pedal to the metal or if any wheel slip is detected with those front wheels, it only takes milliseconds to engage. You could kind of call it like a clutch, but basically to engage the power to the rear wheels, it only takes milliseconds, and the vehicle can adjust how much power it sends to each wheel. So this is actually a fantastic vehicle in a snowstorm, highly recommended. Now I do have a video where I towed with the front wheel drive hybrid in a snowstorm, uphill, made full stops, and I was in at least an inch of snow, and that actually went really well. So this is going to be a hoot in the snow. Now, what else can I say about this right before we jump right in? Well, I've got a few surprises for you. You're going to want to watch to then, and if you do like the video, please do like and subscribe. That's what keeps getting us, well, I won't always have the pleasure of having one of my good friends letting me use their vehicle, because I can't expect all my good friends, I don't have that many, so I can't expect them all to have the latest and greatest, but subscribing will help get the channel a little bit more variety. Now, one thing that my friend Tristan has pointed out really well, do plan, if you've got one of these on order, the back seat, there are no back carpets. And he pointed out to me, he's like, hey Johnny, I don't mean that it doesn't come with carpets, I mean there's none that you can even have. You can't purchase any. So this is going to be a big store or wherever you order from, you're going to want to get at least the little carpets to go over the carpets, but ideally you probably want to get that in a nice rubber mat. Now, Tristan was looking at getting an engine cover made of plastic. And that engine cover made with plastic you can take right from an Escape. He's also gone to set up a nice LED kit for lighting in the back of the trunk. And in the back trunk, you know, normally you need to go with the Luxe package to have a little bit of lighting in the back, but he's cheated the system. He's got the right hack. He's going to set up those LED lights, but surprisingly, when you order the plastic bed liner, it's gonna cover access to the actual wiring. So stay tuned. Another reason to subscribe, you won't wanna miss out. We are gonna be talking about how he got his light system set up and what you should know in advance, how to access that lighting and exactly what you're gonna need. But for now, let's just focus on whether this is, you know, good. What's the good, the bad, and the ugly, if there is any, of the 2-liter Maverick. So we're inside the vehicle and I want to really cover the nitty gritty. I think all the little things that we often forget to talk about in a video. We've all heard about the motor. We know it's been used since 2013. It's now on to edition 2. It's more reliable now. Ford trusts it so much. It's in so many vehicles. The Edge, the Escape. It used to be in the Fusion. It's also in the Lincoln Corsair and the Lincoln Nautilus. So great engine, transmission. It's a new-ish 8-speed. Been out for a couple of years. So things are going pretty good in those areas. But let's talk about the nitty-gritty. For example, the backup camera. We've got a nice little surprise here. Even though this is a small price truck, it's still a lot of money. But it's not a lot of money for a truck. And you've got a really nice, high-quality camera here. The white lines tell you where you're gonna go. So if I wanna aim right into that driveway, which I really don't because I don't know them, and that would just be rude, but at least I know exactly where I'm going. I turn the steering wheel and the lines go right to the other direction. So great backup camera. You even got these little black lines in the middle, and that's to line up your hitch. So I was using that just the other day when I was hooking up my 4-wheeler, and I was able to get it right on, right on the nose. So that is something I love. Now, something everyone's going to be asking themselves when they get this vehicle is, why is there a little hand with lines around it? It's actually Tristan that pointed that out to me. He's like, hey, you should talk about this. And he's right. So if I'm in drive and I let go of the brake, obviously I move forward. But if I stop and let's say I'm in traffic and I press that, that's auto hold. And now I no longer am touching the brakes. So I can stretch my legs when I'm in traffic, do whatever I need to do. That's there. I'll let your creativity figure out how you're going to use that one if you're going to use it. Now, there is a button for making it so that there's no auto start stop. We'll see in the future if Ford offers us a $50 discount for taking the vehicle without that option, so that they use less microchips. But that makes it so that the vehicle, under no circumstance, when it's lit up, it is not gonna stop the engine when you're at the lights. Now, I don't mind it because I really don't notice it when it does stop. So for the road test, I'm gonna turn it back on, meaning nothing's lit up. If nothing's lit up, well, it's gonna stop under the right conditions. Don't expect it to stop at every light or every stop sign. It's got a whole lot of variables to fit. It's a fussy one. Now you've got your handbrake here. It's now a finger brake. And that's just fun, nice and easy. Shows it right in the dash that's gone on. You've got the L here, and if you put it in L, well, if you're going, as soon as you let go of that gas pedal, you're gonna get some braking, and it's braking that comes from the transmission. So it's an assistance, it's an assist to the braking, it's additional braking. Now, I'm not gonna need that because I'm not towing, and this isn't a hybrid, so I'm not trying to get extra regenerative braking, so I don't need that. But what I would like to say is this doesn't have everything you're gonna use with this vehicle in regards to your phone needs a plugged connection. This isn't Sync 4, so this is not a wireless connection. Now, of course, this is in the Luxe package, so no heated seats, no heated steering wheel, no leather steering wheel, and no heated exterior mirrors. But I like this, and Tristan really hacked it out. He wanted the LED lights, so he went on Amazon, bought himself a strip of LED lights, which he then actually noticed that they don't stick very well. But what's cool is the kit does come with brackets, plastic brackets, and you've got these little screws and you can put it right into the plastic bed liner. Mind you, the bed liner is a funny point because, well, it covers access to your wiring, and well, that's what we needed for those lights. So we will do a video where Tristan and I explain that. For now, let's take this out on the road. We're in drive, so we're ready to roll. So these roads are very bad, and they really give me a great idea of what the suspension is going to give me under some pretty bad situations. There's lots of in and out of these ruts, and the road is cracked. just washed and rinsed the vehicle, and Tristan is just gonna love the fact that I'm getting his new car dirty before he got to get it dirty. I'm lucky. So you're probably seeing in the camera right now, this road is bad, but the suspension, the suspension isn't making very much noise. It would be making a good amount of noise, however, if we had, 4 or 5 inch drops. So the seat is definitely comfortable. We drove around what must have been a good solid over an hour, Jack and I, with the hybrid. You've got the same seats on the EcoBoost. You have the same interior. I love the mix of color. I'm definitely a big fan once I've seen the orange in person. I did not like it on the website builder. I was not a fan of the orange one bit, but when you see it in real, your opinion very well might change. Now, Pierre, of course, we won't say what she called this, exactly what this is, but I like it because I like the idea behind it. That's plastic, and the little speckles you see in it is actually the shavings from when they cut the carpets for the vehicle. Don't forget, in the back seat, get your rubber mats in advance, because there are no carpets that you can buy from Ford for it. I'll dodge those nails. Happy that this thing turns really well. It's got a good turning radius. The suspension in the curves is fantastic. Now I'll actually go take it on the highway to show you all that. Now, everything on the steering wheel, I like how the button placement. You've got cruise control on the left, and of course when you're cruising, what are you doing? You're listening to music. So you also have your buttons for changing the volume here. You can mute the music, and on the other side you've got everything that has to do with phone and other options that are going to be quite important, like the menu. Now if you want to change the language to Spanish or French, you'll do that on the touch screen. Used to be done at Ford right here on the steering wheel with the little screen. Now of course this is not an FX4. If this were an FX4, what would you get? Well, instead of this 4-inch screen, you get the 6-inch or 6.5-inch screen like the Lariats. So you get that on an FX4 even if you get an XLT. So that's really good value right there. And this has all my favorite drive modes. You've got Eco and Sport. And if this was an FX4, well, we wouldn't have Eco mode and we wouldn't have Sport mode, but then of course we get that off-road mud or slippery mode, or mud and slippery mode. So things to consider depending where you live and what you plan on doing with the vehicle. But what I can say is I've been driving these Mavericks more and more now on the real roads, and I like the interior. The interior sound on the highway is good. I just drove a 4Runner, and I can't say that the 4Runner was better, despite being, it was a TRD, so double the price. Definitely did not have double the interior sound deadening. I'd actually say this might actually be a little bit quieter. It's very close either way. Not enough to really make a difference. Now, people have said that this interior is too plasticky. Well, once again, I can refer them to the Toyota 4Runner. Great vehicle, great looking vehicle, and you know what? Its interior is all plastic except for the little bit of leather that's on the door, which definitely does help give it a luxury look. But they say it's plastic, but everything you touch, if you get first of all, if you get the luxury package, if you're willing to wait, your steering wheel is going to be leather and it feels great. But the buttons here, volume, tune, all rubber buttons. Nice little mechanical feel, a little click when you turn these buttons. So everything that you're going to be touching, including the transmission knob, obviously I won't put it in the R for racing while we drive forward. That would be definitely disastrous. If I couldn't possibly do that to Tristan, but it definitely does have a good feel to it. Now this is a straight XLT, and I'm surprised. You actually see the temperature. It's represented digitally. So I'm finding that very cool for the price of this vehicle. It's got a little digital temperature, and I'm surprised. I'm wondering if due to microchips, that's something we might not have when our Mavericks are delivered. It might never happen, but I am going to obviously be keeping an eye on that story. But right now, I'm not having to yell to get through this video. They didn't waste any microchips on the mirror up top here. It's just a regular mirror. It's not, I believe, it's not the type of mirror that's going to cut people's high beams. But of course, you have that good old traditional button here. You just flick that at night, and you won't see people's high beams anymore. That's what, if you've ever wondered what the little button on rear view mirrors is for, that's what it's for. Now, if I did want to open, let's say I've got a dog in the back and the dog has gas. Well, that's what that back window's for. And I can't actually open it electronically because this isn't a Lariat. So with the XLT, you have to manually open that, plan in advance. If you're bringing a hot panting dog, open that before you head out. That's going to be pretty useful, and I really don't see that causing any delays whatsoever. And this thing, I can tell you, we're driving it on the highway and I am loving it. Really does make me wonder how I'm paying so much more for a Bronco when this is oh so great. It's not just great for the price, it's a great driving vehicle. I enjoy driving this. I'm not high up. I'm not driving what almost feels like the biggest vehicle on the road, like when I'm driving the Bronco. But this will still whip you through the corners. And the 2-liter turbo, 2-liter doesn't sound like much. You know, you buy milk, you can buy a 1 or a 2-liter. So when you think of it that way, you think, wow, this motor must have no power. But I'll tell you, this is fun to put the pedal to the metal on. And you can see right in these corners that it goes really well in the corners. I feel bad for the cameraman because the cameraman is also the owner of this vehicle. So he'll be allowed to, he'll tell me what I owe him after this road test. His poor new tires. So if you only knew, this is how I drive the Bronco every single day, not just for road tests. And we'll just give it gas this one time. Sounds good, accelerates great. That accelerates actually quite a bit better than the TRD, the 4Runner TRD I just drove. This accelerates really well, puts a smile on my face. You'll be blending into traffic with no issues. You'll be passing people. I would gladly drive this down to Florida. So in just a moment, we're going to be showing you the drive mode, but I had to show you the view. Quebec, Canada, Quebec is a beautiful place. We've got a whole lot of mountains. We got some really nice sunsets, and it is just a fun place to own every vehicle except Ferrari, Lamborghini, or really anything that's low to the ground, because our roads are jokes, but our scenery is fantastic. And speaking of scenery, what does that lead me to talking about? The drive modes. So with drive modes, because we have all sorts of weather, we get really the extremes of all 4 seasons. It can be minus 40 in the winter, and it can be, you know, almost very close to plus 40 on, you know, 1 or 2 days in the summer. So we get a bit of everything. So what do we get for drive modes? Well, of course we have normal mode. That's just for your everyday normal driving. You could drive it all winter in normal mode. You get tow mode because this has the 4-pin connector. Actually, this has 4K, so we can tow 4,000 pounds. We've got slippery mode, we've got eco mode, and we've got sport mode. And sport mode does make a difference. What it's going to do, it's the opposite of eco mode, meaning it's going to keep the RPM a little higher. It's going to be basically like a teenager after a cup of coffee. It's ready to go and is pretty darn peppy. Now, if you find that annoying, either the teenagers or the sport mode, don't worry, you've got eco mode. It's the opposite. It's going to want to change gears, very low RPM, use as little gas as possible, and, well, be more like my 10-year-old German Shepherd was, just wanting to hang out on the couch. So it's going to take life slow, but so far I've been really happy with just normal mode. It does the job. So right now I'm in sport. I was on the highway at 2200 RPM, and let's see, when I put it in normal, what do we get? Tiny little tick down, but the main thing is going to be that it's going to shift earlier. Good brakes, really good brakes, and very little body roll. You know, that's surprising because usually truck means glue your face to the window when you're taking corners like this one quickly. And, you know, we got into that corner at about 60 kilometers an hour, miles per hour. We would have definitely been flying into the ditch, would have ended up in the front door of that hotel. But the only thing, really, the only little critique I have, and it's a happy critique, when I hit major bridge divisions or 4-inch holes with this, I hear the suspension and I feel the suspension. And you have to when you have a 1,500-pound payload. You can can throw in, what is it, like 40 mulch sacks in the back. That's impressive. That's a lot of weight, 1,500 pounds in the back. So you gotta have shocks that are built for it in the back. So you gotta live with a little bit of suspension noise. But if you have good roads, you won't even notice it.
And the thing to know is that if you look at a regular F-150, it's going to have what, 1,800 pounds available, and this is 15. So the difference is not that much. So yes, for sure the ride's a little bit stiffer, but we appreciate it. And that's a truck, not a big old truck, but it's a small truck.
Yeah, it's a small truck on steroids because it can lift with the big boys. You know, you're looking, it can lift more than a 4-door classic 1500 Ram. So it lifts with the big boys. I'd say that this is, I wouldn't call it the steroid truck. It's not the little truck on steroids because steroids cost a lot, and this truck doesn't cost a lot, relatively speaking, for a truck. Of course, you know, at $34,500 Canadian, that is a big chunk of change, but in today's market, that's not, you know, not bad at all. And if you can get one of these at MSRP, guess what? You're gonna get a whole lot more for your trade than you normally would. And if you can get this at MSRP, you're getting an incredible deal. And I can tell you, we were just driving on the highway. Now, of course, this isn't regular, but on the highway, if you're really careful with this, I do believe you can get about 5.5 liters per 100 kilometers. If you're being incredibly careful, I'd say probably more real life, must be about 7.5 liters. Would you say that's about right, Tristan?
If you're a little bit over the limit, speed limit, I think 8.5 could be a good expectation. And the thing that's real nice about it too is that even if we going to go with the sports mod, the gas difference is not going to be that much, but you're gonna see a little bit more pepper, a little bit more pep for the acceleration for sure. And if you want to go with really good gas mileage, the hybrid is there for you. So get both options available.
And at the end of the day, on the highway, between the EcoBoost and the hybrid, there is a difference, but it's not huge. So you got to pick: do you want more traction, or do you want what could be a huge difference in fuel economy if you're driving, you know, in town? Because on the highway at 100, you know, it's 70 miles per hour, EcoBoost or hybrid, you're not going to see a 30% difference. However, in town, yes, in town, this can definitely be between 8 to 10 liters per 100 kilometers in town. Whereas the hybrid, you're probably going to play between 5 to 5.9. So that's about 50. You're going to play around 45 to 50 miles per gallon in town. And on the highway, well, both are pretty similar.
And when we go back a little bit about the value of the truck, about the Maverick, if you compare for Ford directly, a Ford Bronco Sports, or you go with a Escape and you want to have the 2 liters engine, the price is going to be up to $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 more dollars. And when you go with the resale value, John's thing's gonna be up with me. I think we're gonna have a better resale value with the Maverick versus one of the Escape example.
You know, I'm happy you brought up that point. That's a fantastic point. My parents bought they wanted the 2-liter turbo because they had it in their Lincoln, and they were like, that's the best motor we've had. We love that 2-liter turbo. And I said, well, you're gonna like it more now with the 8-speed transmission because they have the old 6-speed on their 2018 Lincoln MKC. They got a Bronco Sport Badlands. They paid 47,000 Canadian, and yes, it's in leather, but you know, this is 34.5, and if it was a Lariat, you know, we would have been playing still about, heck, we would have been playing, yeah, like Tristan said, about
41, 42 maybe?
Yeah, about $6,000 less, and the resale on this, I'm convinced, is going to be better. So, on that bombshell, we're gonna wish you a fantastic weekend. You know, by the time you're getting this, we're probably either going to be in Daytona, and wish you all more cars and more power. Hope your Maverick and my Maverick comes in soon, so wishing you luck. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments section. Thanks for watching.
Now, thank you for all the help and support with the channel. We reached over 8,000 subscribers, and we'll be hitting 2 million views soon, so thank you so much. And if exclusive content, background stories, and really exclusive news does interest you, do consider becoming a member when that's available. Thank you so much for the help. Have a great weekend. And do subscribe if you want to help dress and put that poodle through sports. Thanks.